Thank you, Dalia, for such a beautiful my introduction. I Tripati Suprantu Lithuviske, so I little bit understand it. So, as you know, myself, Subhru Kar from India, an architect and urban designer. I worked have more than 9 years. Out of 9 years, more than 4.5 years, I worked for UNESCO. And today, not to worry, today I'll just speak about kind of experience what I gather. So as I mentioned, is going to be entirely my own experience, and I prepare this entire presentations in terms of storytelling mode, so nothing to get bored. So be relaxed and enjoy it. So as I mentioned, being a story and my experience that has a start of a journey. While like after your school, then you start your college, maybe university, then you will start working somewhere, and you do some like serve the nations, serve the community, right? In the phases you start knowing people and gathering your experiences in professional field, in life, and it goes on and repeat again. So today I'll express my own experience, more particularly my experience working with UNESCO. I'll start my career from the India part, and then I focus more into my Iraq chapter.
Shubhru, we cannot see your slides. Can you please share?
Uh, okay. Is it visible now?
Yes. Yes, all good now.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So as you just mentioned, today I'll just speak my experience in terms of a story-based line, and the story start from the journey of career, and then I know the people, and then I start gathering the experience in multiple areas. And when I switch other companies or my project change again, started gathering people and started gathering experiences, right? So it's a like repeat kind of situation. Today we'll speak about purely my experiences and more focus into my work with UNESCO. I will start the presentation from my work from the India, and then I focus more into my Iraq chapter. So now you can see this very beautiful toy train. We call it toy train in India. That's in Darjeeling. So it's called Darjeeling Himalayan Railway. It's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And it's like from starting from a plain city level, then it's reach up to Darjeeling. And if I go further, you can see this particular train is kind of enjoyed by the local communities. School kids, they used to take this train from their neighborhood to the nearest school, and this too goes on. So that this became a very lifeline of the entire hill region in Darjeeling. So few more glimpses of the toy train. At one point, need to note the particular Ghum station, part of this heritage line, is also world highest heritage railway stations, and its elevation, like height, is from the main sea level is more than 7,400 feet, or you can say 2,250 meter. And this train is passing through a very beautiful landscape, all those fir trees and the small hamlets, and you can see the tea garden as well. And if the day is quite bright and you have a very good visibility, then you can experience the view of world third tallest mountain, Mount Kanchenjunga, from the window of this train. So the entire journey is experiential, and the toy train itself is 130, no, 142, 45, 4 years old. And in the world right now, we have around 13 steam locomotives. And yes, so as I mentioned, the tea gardens and the hamlet, such a beautiful place. And I was staying in the same small town called Karshan. But while working here at the end of my time, then I got to know another mission UNESCO is planning, and I was offered this part to Iraq. So from the Darjeeling to India, I got an opportunity to work in Iraq. So give you all a very like comprehensive idea about the location about Iraq. So you can see the Iraq in the red dot, and Lithuania where we all are sitting right now, and the yellow India, and the blue dot is indicating Darjeeling. So I came from India. I've been to Iraq for a couple of months, I worked there, and right now I'm in Lithuania. So I just before going further to my detailed part, I'm giving very brief about the history. I think in your school studies courses, you know about Mesopotamia, right? Tigris, Euphrates River, and so-called that's considered as one of the oldest known civilizations where humans started growing. And nowadays, Iraq is more popular or more well known to the entire world for its oil productions. Iraq is ranked fourth globally in terms of oil supply. Now the best part or most charming session start when I got to know, okay, I got an opportunity in Iraq to work. So what's happening in my mind? The kind of images happening in my mind. And same thing I believe for you also. When you think about Iraq, so sometimes or how kind of images happening in your mind, like it is a good place, happening place, vibrant in terms of culture, people are really good, things are happening really nice, people are celebrating festivals, all those images, or few kind of dark images, so like colorful images or dark black and white images. For my case, things are not so bright. When I got the part, thinking about should I go to Iraq, because whenever try like looking for in the Google for what is Iraq and what is all about, this kind of like disturbing images popping up. Whatever blogs I'm reading, they're talking about the like kind of attack, kidnap, bombing, missile, everything happening. When I'm talking about my friends, okay, I am got a opportunity Iraq, so I go. All are saying ki you have only one life, not to go there. Fine, fine, fine. My parents also not so happy, and Google is showing so many kind of disturbing images. It thinks like it's going to be very exciting as well. Like okay, here it's going to really challenging, and people really need some kind of support here. So one part is inner urge to go there, another part bit scary. So whatever this kind of images is not so long. This happened last 2 decades. So you all know like Hussein maybe like America attacked Iraq for more than 7 8 years to dethrone Saddam Hussein, and again before Iraq could establish themselves again in the world, ISIS, the Islamic State, they attacked Iraq, and they kind of like destroyed most of the known historically well known monuments, libraries, everything. So two intensive war kind of destroyed the entire Iraq. So here I'll show two different map indicating the kind of like ISIS they capture which part. As ISIS stay in Iraq was too brief and too dynamic, the only single map might not be able to explain you. So this map indicating that Mosul and Dohuk, those two locations, the project I'll be explaining today, and the city marked in star that Irbil, I was stationed there, right? And the gray zone indicating the kind of like ISIS kept dominance primarily in Syria and Iraq part. So another image showing how kind of ISIS like enter the Iraq and kind of their spread. Okay, another interesting movie I watched before flying to Erbil, the Mosul. It's available on Netflix. It's a good movie to watch. Fine. Now the main interesting part. Okay, everything is fine. I fought with my parents. There was a kind of confidence. Okay, you are going as event taking your responsibility for your safety and security. So they are a bit fine. I choose to fly to Erbil. While landing there, looking into the windows, is same thing. What kind of images I had, but nothing suspicious. I reached hotel. Next morning, I've been to office. I got my ID card, and then I told to next day onwards I need to go for a 3 days long survival training. Mean like if I hit by a bullet, how to first aid myself. If my colleague got hit by a bullet, how to help him or her. If my car got ambushed by terrorist, how to escape. Or maybe next in case if got like kidnapped, so how to survive during hostage period. Those kind of like very interesting kind of training we passed. We have or trained for 3 days long. I qualified there. I came back to office. I got my laptop to work, mouse is everything done, water bottle as well. So what happened? Like all my other friends who used to work, when they join some office as a joining kit, they usually get a laptop and other working stuff. But here, along with it, I got a bulletproof jacket and ballistic helmet, and a high frequency radio walkie talkie. So, okay, this is interesting. Welcome to Iraq now. But then I started roaming, exploring the city, going multiple places, and I realized the Iraq is not all about the images what we had in our mind. The country is much, much, much more beautiful than anybody can imagine, right? So here are a couple of like good photographs which I personally took during my stay. People are enjoying the street life. It's really vibrant. Nature is really like dynamic. Architecture is in different style. All of something is we can't imagine sitting from the outside, right? And not only the country is beautiful, the people who are staying here, they are really welcoming, friendly, and in fact, the crime rate in Iraq is negligible. Apart from the political disturbance, Iraq is really peaceful. And obviously, I can't omit the kind of food I had. They have one of the best kebab I ever had. Kebab, falafel, and they have tradition of having tea, liquor tea after every meal. So outcome of this good food, I gained around 7 kilo weight. So there is a photo for that. Yes. So whatever like beauty Iraq has to offer, how the people they are reacting to me, welcoming their behavior, everything fine. When it came to the real work, so the kind of destruction photos what we had in our mind, those were real. The cities were drastically destroyed by the terrorist. So now our task was to rebuild those and giving moral support to the local community, right? So here showing one of the major church, which I'm going to explain later on, how this was destroyed by them. Well, here not only UNESCO, apart from UNESCO, all other many UN agencies like UNDP, UN Habitat, UNICEF, UNHCR, and many more UN agencies, they also jumped into Iraq to help the local communities, to help the Iraqi people. And UNESCO took the initiative to rebuild Iraqis people's spirit by recovering their cultural establishment, both ways in terms of tangible like building monuments and some extent further enhancing their intangible capacities like skills. So initially they launched a very flagship project, Revive the Spirit of Mosul. This is primarily funded by the UAE, United Arab Emirates. And this particular project, they're more focusing on the so-called landmark building like big minaret or a mosque or churches. Next project is funded by European Union (EU), where they are more focused into so-called smaller scale building like individual houses which was destroyed or kind of ruined due to time. Schools, museums, libraries, which is not show in terms of big scale, but they have a very strong contribution to the society. And the third one, which I was primarily involved mostly, uh, they while doing the other two projects, they realize, okay, this is going to be one-time investment. Like they are spending money, they are rebuilding it for the people. But the people who are staying there, or Iraqis or other refugees who are staying there, if we don't, if we didn't build their capacity, then they won't survive long. Because due to two, like America war and the ISIS crisis, they didn't have proper opportunity to get proper education. And whenever they kind of like passed the school or college and they came to real field work, then COVID happened. And during COVID time, we all know everything kind of stopped. So actual real life experience they didn't get. So UNESCO took another initiative to kind of help them for on-job training by that's why this project called support the livelihood through culture heritage development, and this also funded by the EU, right? So today I will just brief about two project, one project from the last one and another project I'm going to revive the spirit of mosul. Okay, so now the project we're discussing now, the Charstin cave, this project is not, this particular site was not destroyed by the uh, during the war or ISIS crisis. This site is kind of like ruined. It's like more than 4,000 years old archaeological site. So I think all of us heard about that religion called Zoroastrianism. So Islam, Christianity, I'm Hindu, but this particular religion is more like much older than Islam or Christianity. This is considered one of the oldest religion in the world. Although in recent time, less than zero point 0.2 million people still follow this religion, but still it is actively alive in this particular region, and the particular site is still being prayed prayer happening from those people of those religion. So my task was to develop this entire site considering the tourist inflow, because as Iraq they kind of have very in terms of weaker in terms of economics right now because of the war and something. They want to attract tourists from the local other cities, other countries as well. So I want to start developing tourist oriented destination here. So my role was to develop the site, which is quite complex in nature. So maybe I worked before with UNESCO in hilly terrain in Darjeeling, and here also got opportunity to work with mountains. But yes, the particular site is really beautiful. If you climb top of your site, like my project site, then I can see entire city fabric from top. Is really beautiful. But challenge is come to temperature. It is when during my stay it was 45, 48 degree in between, and you can see the very less tree for shade. And 3 days back, when I've been to Kaunas, that time I got to know in here in Lithuania, if we cross, if the temperature is going below 20, minus 25 degree, we got a holiday, right? In Iraq also happens same thing. If temperatures goes beyond 50 degree plus, then everybody got a official holiday. But fine, all those challenges, we started working a few more photographs to follow to just give you a idea about the like complexity of the site. So it's quite steep, like for 1 meter high, you need to walk for 3 meter. We call it 1:3 ratio, quite high. And few other photographs to show the mountain terrain, how it looks. As I mentioned earlier, the entire site belong for archaeological importance, so we can't alter much. Plus, here another catch. Like the end, we got the funding from EU, and the main kind of clause was the workforce who are going to be employed in this site. Those should be more than like approximately like around 70% of the workforce should be hired from the Syrian refugees. So Syria, another country which was also badly hampered by ISIS. So during that war happened with ISIS, lots of Syrian people crossed the border and came to Iraq to become refugee there. So as per the project clause, we need to hire 70% from the Syrian refugees. So we had to consider they might not be enough technically strong, or they are few of them might definitely will be not knowing how to lay a brick, how to do construction work. So designs should be so simple. A people who doesn't have any technical knowledge can work. Plus another part, and the site have archaeological importance. So we can't do much in terms of alteration. Not much. We can't do any alteration in fact. So very four design principle I choose. Not only I'll show the story again. So here, before going further, like have a quick look, the kind of design philosophy, like the proposals, how it look like. So you can see few glimpses of water here. If I can follow my cursor, you can see the water here, some kind of curved lines indicating, and people are like steps from the road level taking up to the hill. But in the plan, it might looks bit easy to design. But I'll show another photographs. You can concentrate in this particular block. This gray block is this block, and you can see that particular hill how steep it is, and the entire like pathway going this side and going up. Like this is going up. Here you can follow. So it looks very simple, but it was not. A very few ideas how kind of a design like program it was, like in terms of open air theater, toilet blocks, some convenience stores, seating areas, all those proposed. The main task come how design was so easy, like so simple happened because the multiple discussion with the local communities. So as I mentioned, I am from India. I follow different religion, Hinduism. I came to a country, Iraq. Those are mostly crowded by the Islam population. And the site I was involved with, that is for the site of Zoroastrian people. So it was a bit complex being a different believers for a different part, because if something goes wrong, then it's going to big controversy. So it's better to get their aspirations first, like okay, being a like this religion follower, what they think, what kind of like religion believes, take element from there and build for them, because ultimately they are the first users. So multiple round discussion happen with the people what they want, and not only inside the room, I took them on the ground as well and discuss how the things look like after design. So yes, you can see all the photographs. Another story happened here. I involved a local two university, like university also, and the local town planning department for their inputs as well. And as told, the people from the Syrian camp and few local Iraqis as well, they took extend their hand, and we employed them. On job training also happening, and they start doing things. Those are not so difficult, but yes, it was difficult due to the terrain. So things are happening. One photographs indicating how the design kind of like help to mitigate or omit the destruction, or omit the sensible, bypass the sensible archaeological remains. This site is have archaeological remains here, so we put a kind of like metal frame to bypass it. And how to tackle that hilly terrain. So steps are going not crossing vertically, crossing the terrain in going this side and going this side to get much more aligned part. But yeah, as mentioned, we tie up with the local university as well. University, so periodically they keep sending their students for a quick site visit. The one group arrived here. That time is, and yeah, lastly, a few photographs indicating the site all about. So you can see very simple kind of like proposals where a timber made small kiosk to offer coffee or tea or small water bottle, few sitting areas, few shading devices, lights. Everything is done very simple way. And yes, next we'll go another building which was kind of destroyed by ISS. This building called Al Tahira Church. It was developed or established 1862 and damaged during 2017. Initially, local people started rebuilding it, but they started clearing the premises. They started like just like further dismantling the existing roof, because the entire building is more than 85% destroyed, and bad part the roof is collapsed. And UNESCO took the project in charge like from March 22 and finished the hand give the handover to the client, and this year last month itself. Very recent project. Okay, so few photographs indicating how it was, like you can see the photo how it was destroyed. Also, very briefly, a few photographs indicating how the project was going on. Here, we didn't employ the like so-called unskilled laborers. We employed people who have basic idea how to handle like equipment, tools, construction techniques, because this is a massive structure where we can't do mistakes because otherwise it might fall because it's so sensible. And plus, add on, we reach out the local communities, local artisans who had the skills. We give them a platform to recreate those lost motives. This is Muhammad, roughly that time he was 60 around years old. So he took the charge of creating motifs from the carving the stones. And more than 2 years period, he trained another around I think 60 young students who also showed interest to how to carve the stones. So under his leadership, we got around 60 young students also carving the stones, and after we got a full batch of people who develop a new skills. And UNESCO kind of involved 10 young student from the nearby same same city painting art college, and they give them train how to retrieve a old painting and they again started recreating those old paintings inside that particular church. Now a few photographs, like you can see how it was before and after innovation, after reconstruction, how it looks like. You can see the entirely changed, entirely rebuilt. Things are happening. And another photographs when you can see before photo indicating the kind of roof was collapsed entirely. And here you can see roof is entirely rebuilt with the dome structure, everything kind of on place now, right? So here the last slide you can say. So another small part, I while going through multiple like document or photographs, I got noticed this particular chapter here. The father Nazib, the father of same Al-Tara Church, during 2014 when ISIS attacked Mosul, he managed to carry 800 manuscript along with him to Irbil, right? And with the help of Hungary and Lithuania government, UNESCO is kind of digitize all those 800 manuscripts. So Lithuania not only provide funding but also provide technical equipments, training to the local people how to do it things. So things are really going well, and I think till the end they till support basically more than 4,000 manuscript was restored in terms of its digitized form, right? So yeah, my last slide. Here I'll just brief you about kind of a conclusion. So initially I showed a site in Darjeeling that is a different thing, right? In like mechanical or you can say steam engine. And later on I cite we have historical importance in the building form. So UNESCO doesn't mean it will only take care a individual building or a group of monuments, or it doesn't mean it will take only the buildings or things are UNESCO under UNESCO World Heritage list, but also it's always extend their help to distressed community to rebuild their lost heritage, and through while rebuilding those, they always try to recreate or reestablish this kind of skill set which people had once. So yes, this is the kind of very brief for today's presentation. So now the floor is open for quick question and answer. By the way, the particular photographs I showed here, this is from Erbil, and this is called Erbil Citadel. And the best part, this also UNESCO World Heritage Site, and best part, this is more than 6,000 years old and still living. People are still living inside. This is more than 6,000 years old, and today's date, this is the only one uh, center of civilizations still continuing. Yes.
Thank you so much, Subhru, for such a beautiful presentation and for sharing your both personal experience and also work experience of working with such significant monuments. So yeah, we have a little bit of time for questions or just feedback, or if anything was unclear, just feel free to ask, or by coming to the computer or giving the question to the teacher. And I know that Šilutis Vidūno Gymnasium has a bit different schedule, so maybe we can give the floor to them first,
Yeah.
because I think they have, yeah, just maybe less time. So, Jurgita, does your class have any questions?
No, no questions. Everything was just clear. And thank you for such a nice presentation. It was very informative. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Inga, what about you? What about your class? Any anything to share or to ask or to clarify? It would be really nice to hear from you. You know, it's always better when we have a chance to have live classes, but nonetheless,
Yes, we have some questions.
Yes, sure.
oh, perfect.
You students, they are ready to ask. Brigita?
My name is Vicky and I have a question. What was the most hardest or the most memorable project you ever worked on?
Okay, most hardest or memorable, right? So I'll go for my very first project in India itself. So if I can show you the particular slide again, the India, this for the project for Darjeeling Himalayan Railway, this is hardest because it like government doesn't have any kind of documentation, and due to its location very close to China, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Bhutan, we didn't got any kind of map from the local agency as well. So without having any kind of things, we need to initiate a World Heritage site and need to prepare a kind of guidelines for the further development of the buffer zone areas. So here there are different kind of challenges happened, and all of us like who was part of this project have no clue how to go with it. And yeah, this is also for my very first project with UNESCO, so it's always memorable.
Thank you. And I have another question. Why did you decide to represent UNESCO?
Can you come again?
And do you regret representing it?
I think she asked, why did you decide to represent UNESCO and do you regret it?
No, 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 not at all. Like there's no like scope to regret it actually. So best part happened working with UNESCO, you will feel good or feel proud. Wherever, whatever project you are doing, you will definitely feel good because you will feel, and by seeing your work, when you see local communities giving some so much of importance and respect to you because they are also getting direct benefit from you. So they really understand what UNESCO is, and when they learn, okay, you are from UNESCO and doing this project, so they really have a quite trust on you because okay, now they're going to get some really serious stuff and something going to happen really. So this kind of feel is something yeah, memorable, and I don't want to miss those chance again if I got. And the same part was so important because I told mentioned ki I was went for 3 days long training in Iraq, and the same training platform we have other agencies as well from UNHCR or even Habitat also. The trainer he gave when he came to know ki, okay, I am working for UNESCO. He directly told me, okay, you are in safe hand. Like, why? Because usually it's noticed in the in hostile areas or terrorists they doesn't attack UNESCO. Like, why? Because UNESCO is well known, and they also believe, they also understand, they work for people. For other agencies also work, but their presence or they are not so much well known to the other people. But UNESCO known for its contribution to the community, people, or nation.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's so in short, I understood that you found those do you find these projects meaningful, and
Yes.
you find that it's easy because yeah, the communities trust UNESCO and what it brings. Thank you for that question and for the answer. We have two more quick questions in the chat. So the first question is, how do you manage your time in a day doing so much? And the second one is, what are your future projects?
Okay. Time management during these projects.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. No, like it was fairly simple, like nothing separate to to manage it. So it was quite like when things are on part and happening, and not only me, you have an entire full team to work with. So it's quite manageable, and the project timeline also like derived from the kind of like anticipating kind of things happening. Yeah, so it was happening. Yeah, so one story again from the Darjeeling project. What happened like to 17 May month onwards, the entire area got like strike for 104 days, like more than 100 days, because they want a different statehood agitation happened. So our project was kind of like on hold for 100 odd days. But after when everything's got normalized, then we reinitiate it. But we finished the able to finish the project on schedule time, only 15 days delayed. So we kind of manage and suddenly put our extra work. We stretch ours a little bit extra and manage to finish the project kind of on time. Another part, a future project. right now I don't have any because I kind of like left UNESCO and came Lithuania for doing my second masters in project management. After completing this project, this course, then I'll see if I got another project to work with UNESCO.
Thank you so much for your answers. Is there anything else you would like to ask from any of the schools? Or just to share feedback or anything you want to share?
So
Uh,
okay, from this project is fine. So anybody like would like to know my experience in Lithuania?
I think they would. I would be interested as well.
Yeah, so I have just prepared a very quick 3 4 slides to just tell myself about how I feel. So yeah, like okay, as I mentioned, I'm from India, and the temperature minus temperature not so usual. Okay, northern part where Himalaya is there. There we got minus temperature snowfall, but I never seen this kind of like fabric. Like okay, well here you are seeing enter full blanket of snow covering everything. This is something very interesting or exciting for me. And then I experienced quite intense snowfall. It's quite good. I think it is quite usual for you, but somebody coming from India and who doesn't have snowfall rarely experience snowfall when they been to travel to other like northern part of India, but otherwise not. So quite interesting. And obviously the kind of the monuments was so beautifully preserved and maintained and enjoyable. There's something memorable, and definitely while going back to India in next 1 year, then definitely try to again some kind of like take some kind of like influence from here and try to implement in my next project if I got any. And then also realize okay, it's not only the historical part. This have particularly Vilnius have a very modern architecture as well that is quite interesting and impressive as well. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so it was really, I hope it was, for me, it was very interesting. I hope for the pupils as well. And I can see there you have 4 minutes left until the end of a lesson, at least in Ivinska's gymnasium schedule. So thank you so much for being with us today. I hope that you learned something new and interesting. Um, and yeah, maybe you'll have more time to reflect, discuss this topic among yourselves after this class with your teacher. So have a good day, everyone, and hope to see you in other events. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Shubhru. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.